Chapter 2: The Family and Culture. The family is considered the basic social unit of our society. The way that families are defined has changed. The U.S. Census Bureau defines family as a group of two or more people related by birth, marriage, or adoption and living together. Earlier definitions of family emphasized the legal ties or genetic relationships of people living in the same household with specific roles. The family greatly influences the development and health of its members. For example, children learn health care activities, health beliefs, and health values from their family. The family structure, the roles assumed by family members, and social changes that affect the family's life can influence the woman's and newborn's health status. Families are unique. Each one has different views and requires distinct methods for support. Culture is a view of the world and a set of traditions that are used by a specific social group and are transmitted to the next generation. It plays a critical role with women and their families. A person's culture influences not only socialization, but also his or her experiences related to health and specific health practices. Culture is learned first in the family, then in school, and then in the community and other social organizations. Culture influences every aspect of development and is reflected in childbearing and child-rearing beliefs and practices designed to promote healthy adaptation. Family structure and function are influenced by culturally related health beliefs and values. These factors have power to affect maternal and child health outcomes. Providers should recognize these influences, discuss current trends in families, and explore the nursing implications. The family and its cultural context play an important role in defining the work of maternity nurses. Despite modern stresses and strains, the family forms a social network that acts as a potent support system for its members. The current emphasis in working with families is on wellness and empowerment for families to achieve control over their lives. Current U.S. Census data indicate that the racial and ethnic diversity of the population has grown dramatically in the last 3 decades. This increased diversity first manifested among children and soon to be evident in the older population. It is projected to increase in the future. Each family sets up boundaries between itself and society. People are conscious of the difference between family members and outsiders, or people without kinship status. Some families isolate themselves from the outside community. Others have a wide community network to whom they can turn for help in times of stress. Although boundaries exist for every family, family members set up channels through which they interact with society. These channels also ensure that the family receives its share of social resources. Examples of family structures in today's society include the nuclear family. This includes a husband, wife, and children living in the same household. It may also include natural or adopted children. The nuclear family was once considered the traditional family structure, now less common due to increased divorce rates and child rearing by unmarried persons. The reconstituted or blended family. Adults with children from previous marriages or from the new marriage may lead to family conflict due to different expectations on the part of the child and adults. They may have different views and practices related to child care and health. The extended family. This includes a nuclear family and grandparents, cousins, aunts, and uncles. This family needs to identify decision maker and primary caretaker of the children. This type of family is popular in some cultures such as Hispanic and Asian cultures. The single parent family. This is when one parent is responsible for care of the children. May result from death, divorce, desertion, birth outside of marriage, or adoption. These families are likely to face challenges because of economic, social, and personal restraints. One person serves as homemaker, caregiver, and financial provider. The alternative or homosexual families. These types of families are less well documented. They include children and families whose parents are cohabitating, and an increasing number of homosexual, lesbian, gay families who may live together with or without children. Social roles are typically learned in pairs. Role pairing enables social interactions to take place in an orderly, predictable manner. The roles are said to be complementary, such as mother, father, parent, child, brother, sister. The family uses its resources to provide safe, intimate environment for development of family members. The family provides for nurturing of a newborn and gradual socialization of a growing child. Children form earliest and closest relationships with parents or parenting persons. These affiliations continue throughout life. The parent-child relationships influence self-worth and ability to form later relationships. Family provides the growing child with identity that possesses both a past and a sense of the future. Cultural values and rituals are passed from one generation to the next through the family. The power to make critical decisions is given to a family member through tradition or negotiation. All families have strengths and potential for growth. It is important for the nurse to identify those strengths and potentials to facilitate the growth of the family. Nurses are morally and ethically obligated to include families in health care. Their commitment to inclusion of the family influences the health and well-being of the family. This necessitates that nurses must become competent in assessing and intervening with families through collaboration with the family. Family nursing must focus on relationships, not on the individual. Family plays a pivotal role in health care, representing the primary target of health care delivery for maternal and newborn nurses. The nurse must possess a degree of personal openness and acceptance and work with families in a way that is respectful and adapts to their ways of learning and communicating. The cultural context of the family. Culture of an individual is influenced by religion, environment, and historic events and plays a powerful role in the individual's behavior and patterns of human interactions. Culture is not static. It is an ongoing process that influences people throughout their entire lives from birth to death. These are some different cultural words that I know you guys have heard of before. Acculturation refers to changes that occur within one group or among several groups when people from different cultures come in contact with one another. People may retain some of their own culture while adopting some of the cultural practices of the dominant society. Assimilation. Assimilation occurs when a cultural group loses its identity and becomes part of the dominant culture. Assimilation is the process by which groups melt into the mainstream, thus accounting for the notion of a melting pot, a phenomenon that has been said to occur in the United States. Ethnocentrism is a belief in the rightness of one's culture's way of doing things. Essentially, ethnocentrism supports the notion that my group is the best. Cultural relativism is the opposite of ethnocentrism. It refers to learning about and applying the standards of another person's culture to activities within that culture. Childbearing beliefs and practices. Nurses working with childbearing families care for families from many different cultures and ethnic groups. To provide culturally competent care, the nurse must assess the beliefs and practices of patients. A nurse should consider all aspects of culture, including communication, space-time orientation, and family roles when working with childbearing families. Cultural competence involves acknowledging, respecting, and appreciating ethnic cultural. Competent professionals act in ways that meet the needs of the patient and are respectful of the ways and traditions that may be very different from their own. Today's society is of critical importance. Nurses every level of operation and throughout their professional lives, nurses must engage in a continual process of defining attitudes and behaviors that will promote culturally competent care. Nurses who relate effectively with patients are able to motivate them in the direction of health promoting behaviors. In 2006, Rust and colleagues developed a crash course in cultural competency. Box 2-2 on page 26 in your textbook lists what the acronym CRASH stands for. C for culture, R show respect, A assess, affirm differences, S show sensitivity, self-awareness, H do it all with humanity.